I mean, I guess if she's got the tracker disabled, but she still has the mind meld, so it could still take back over, I would assume.
And it seems like, because she said earlier that O had put a block in.
Yeah, so she couldn't talk about it.
Now she's talking about it, so it seems like...
But she didn't want to talk about it.
That's gone. Yeah, she didn't want to now, but not that she couldn't.
Right, that's true. So now we've got, like, Agnes, like, cowering and saying that she's never going to harm Soji. I kind of hope that's true and not, like, foreshadowing, like, oh, no.
I didn't even think about that.
So, back on the Borg cube, this is when Narissa and her men, like, open the doors for all the Borgs to be sucked out. I mentioned that earlier, but I forgot that it was down a little farther. And then that's when Seven makes the decision to suit up and become the Borg Queen.
Borg Queen 7!
Yes.
Oh, so good.
Which actually felt very, like, Matrix-y to me in a way, too. So I was kind of like, okay, there is no...
With all that, like, weird green stuff, like, the lighting is very Matrix-y, right? I really liked when her eyes go black with little green pupils. I thought that was a really cool effect. And you got all the Borg voice coming from her. It was just a really cool little scene.
Well, it was like a reflection of the holograms, like, in her eyes, I think is what it was. She possibly gave up everything that she's worked to get away from, but she did it for the greater good. Then we go back. Rafi's got everybody gathered up. She's got the crew there. She's like, so listen, this is what's happening. This is what's going down. She kind of mentions a beautiful flower and Jana, but before she can say Jana, Soji is like, Jana. And then Rios goes to the replicator and gets her french fries and peppermint ice cream because that's what Jana liked. So it's like, there was something going on if you remembered what kind of snack she liked, like 9 years later.
Yeah.
Anyway.
This scene really reminded me of like the conference room scenes we saw in previous incarnations of Trek with like Picard and all the senior crew, or Kirk with his senior crew. It was like felt like
the observation lounge, like when they all get in there at the table.
Yeah. It just kind of like felt like it was a little bit of a callback to that mentality of like, hey, this is where we all have to go to talk about this stuff.
Like he had said in a previous episode, they were a motley crew, and because they meet at the Sonic
tables, yeah.
Time for a hot dog.
Oh yeah. Make sure you cook my tater tots twice.
They're like twice baked potatoes. You got twice cooked tots.
Tots are good.
So they're sitting at the Sonic tables. Rafi's gonna say stuff. We've got Soji had come in with Agnes, and then Rios gave her the ice cream and the french fries because he's like, I know you, just a different you. And she's so confused, and I love that Rafi's like, honey, we'll get to that in a minute.
Eat your ice cream.
Yeah, she's just like, have your snack. You'll figure it out in a minute. So she's like, so Commodore O is Romulan and Vulcan. She worked her way up through the ranks so that she could be the security person, so that she could do this whole Mars thing. And I was always right. Oh, I forgot. Agnes, when she walks in, she says she's done murdering people. And then the poor thing, she just feels so bad because she's just like, this is the first time I ever had a crew. Like, you think she's going to say family, but then she says crew, and it's like, okay, all right. And she says she's going to turn herself in when they land. So that's some important things we need to know. O is half Romulan, half Vulcan. That's why she doesn't have the extra eyelids, like you were saying, Neil. That's why she can do the mind meld. That's why she was wearing sunglasses. But one of the places I was reading something, it called her a hybrid. And I'm like, this is so weird.
She's a Prius.
Yes.
This doesn't look like the 12th Doctor and Clara. What? The hybrid?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I will take any Doctor Who reference. Like, I totally said Every Planet Has a North a couple of weeks ago, too, so. Everybody is just like, oh, this makes so much sense, because all of this stuff has happened, and they're like, all right, well, I guess we ought to get going. Soji's like, we need to go to a Borg transwarp conduit, so they can go super light years or something. Like, they're going to go...
Yeah, you move faster.
Move faster, yes. I couldn't remember exactly what I thought it was like sort of maybe like having a wormhole or something. Like, you just end up...
It's a similar idea, yeah.
And Soji's like... okay, we're going to do this. And she's, like, putting everything in. She puts up, like, shields and stuff so nobody could come and, like, come to her and change her mind. And Rios is, like, really annoyed by it. And he starts singing this song in Spanish that was a lullaby his mom sang to him. And I guess it's his, like, super-duper override for things. And she didn't know about it. And so he got it to go away. And,
that was an awesome moment. That was a great moment.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty great. But I also like this bit with Picard is he's like,
Is this in the command chair?
No,
like the music swells?
Not yet. No, first I like that he is like, listen, she was doing things Maddox's way. Then she was doing things my way. Let's do this her way, because maybe this will work. Because he's like, obviously what we've been doing hasn't been working. So I think that's
a novel idea.
Very adult of him. Now that he's like 104 or however old he's supposed to be. Now, what is he supposed to be, like in his 90s?
96 or something.
Yeah, older than I was thinking he was supposed to be in the original show. They're like, okay, so she goes over, she puts everything in. Picard goes over to the captain's chair, and he pulls up the navigation and stuff, and yeah, and as he was saying, the music swells.
You think it's going to be like this epic moment of Picard just like becoming the old Captain Picard.
Like, I can't do it.
He's like, well, I
don't know how this works.
It's like the equivalent of when Rey hands the lightsaber back to Luke Skywalker when they're on the Pork Island and he just like throws it away. It's just the best.
Or it's like when your grandparent has a smartphone and they can't figure out how to use it.
That's what I was thinking.
How do you use these filters or whatever?
How do you do the snap book?
Snap book. Oh, so great. So back on the Borg cube, we've got Seven, who has awakened all the dormant Borgs that are left, and she was yelling because they've opened the hatch to let them out. And she was like, "No!" in her Borg voice. She gets all the ex-Borg to, like, they take over for any of the Romulans that are left. Apparently, Narissa's gotten the signal out to everybody where they need to go, so they're on their ships. They're going to Soji's home world, unfortunately. And she says the cube is ours, or again, or something like that, which is kind of cool. But Eleanor's like, are you gonna assimilate me now? And it's like, it's so sad.
Do you think before that part where Narissa is getting attacked?
Oh yes,
by all the XBs. Do you think she transported away?
I don't know.
Do you think she got killed?
I don't know. But they were XBs, because I was like, what if she got assimilated?
But it almost looks like at the very end of that, when she's covered in the XBs, like there's a flash of light.
Oh, right.
I'm thinking that she transported away to that last Romulan ship before it warped away.
Yeah, probably.
That's what I mean. I think narratively that works better for her to stay alive.
Yeah, definitely. But also, she said she'd be a better Borg. So what if she became a Borg?
we don't know.
But Eleanor, he asks if he's going to be assimilated, and no, because Annika has more work to do. And then the thing lets her go. It's like, oh, that's interesting. And then she's back to being, 7 of 9, previously Annika.
No longer Borg Queen 7.
Nope, no more Borg Queen 7 for now. So our last scene is Picard is sitting on the bridge with Rios. Rios is in the captain chair because he knows how to do that. Picard is talking about, reminiscing, I guess, about being an ensign back when he was on the Reliant and how he would just look out into space and he just kind of felt like he was the only one right there at that moment and everybody was asleep in their rooms or whatever, and that he loved it. And then he was getting that now. And it was so great because they showed, like, Rios' face. They were having a moment. He was kind of grinning, and it was adorable. At this moment, it is when Picard says something about Vandermeer, and we find out that Rios was very close with him and almost called him Pops a couple times and that kind of thing. And that he had been the first officer for one of Picard's friends, and which is really great because, you know, in the older series we didn't really have many female captains or anything, and still not a lot in TNG, but you kind of heard about a couple, maybe didn't see them, and then you saw a few more. But then this is another one that she was out there and she was a really great person, and Picard says he thought that Vandermeer seemed like a good guy, one of Starfleet's best, kind of trying to, I think, reassure Rios because he had to have known that it was going to be bad if there were this, like, instead of just him being a cold-blooded killer, that, like, he felt a little better because he didn't think that they were people and that it was bad enough that the Federation wanted to get rid of them and all that kind of thing. So
yeah,
I don't know if it made him feel any better, but
I really like this speech at the end that Picard does. It's really touching, with talking about the past and the future and what the meaning of fear is, all that kind of stuff. It was really, really...
Yeah, and as they're sort of getting to the end of their conversation, Soji pops up and is like, we're here. Oh.
And we're here. Perfect, perfect cliffhanger. The next episode.
Yeah, and so we see their ship go through the transwarp conduit.
It almost seems like there's a barrier around this system or something. Because they drop out of warp, and then, like, this big light show opens up and they go through it.
Yeah. And I didn't notice till the second time I watched it that the Romulan ship appears, uncloaks, and goes through after that. And I'm like, oh shit.
So much for evading your tracker.
So much for that.
Narek.
Like I just hit my fist on the table.
What did I call him? I called him a creepy boy last time I was on.
Yes. And then Rebekah was trying to say it so that she wouldn't get bleeped, and she said, intercourse boy.
Creepy intercourse boy.
Oh, no. Stop.
Intercourse boy. I'm like, that's so hilarious. So instead of just bleeping her out saying it the first time, I just completely took it out because it was so hilarious to me that she said intercourse boy. So yeah. Yeah, so that was our episode. I've kept you all up late. Well, not Neil, because he's 3 hours behind us. But
playing 9 o'clock here.
Yeah, it's late, but it's Friday.
Yeah.
Well, how many more? It's Saturday now.
We all have to stay at home anyway, right?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's not like we're going anywhere.
Not yet.
Hashtag coronavirus.
We haven't been told to stay home yet.
We only have 2 episodes left, right?
Yes.
And from the titles, it looks like a two-parter.
Yeah. So it's not just continuing the story like the rest of the season. It's like one big story cut in half.
Yeah.
So.
How do you think the season's going to end?
I think there's going to be some sort of, like, cliffhanger. There's going to be some sort of big thing that's not taken care of. Because I think that's how they convinced CBS for season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we can do a one-season thing, but it would be better if we didn't.
Yeah. It's not as good if we just wrap it all up real quick. How about?
Well, and, Patrick Stewart went on The View, and he asked Whoopi Goldberg to come.
Yeah.
And that was like, okay, well, honestly, it doesn't matter what even happens in this season. I have to get to season 2 because I want to see Whoopi Goldberg.
Right?
Right? If we get Guinan back,
like, come on.
I've already had somebody who's like, I'm going to be on a Guinan episode, and it's like, there might only be one, and he's like, I'm going to be on it already. I don't know if you remember that conversation, Neil, but when
no.
Steven interjected while we were talking about Picard. Yeah, like, I feel like there's going to have to be a lot of episodes with her